Okay, welcome everyone to the Well Balanced Business Brunch with myself, Emma Forrester, and Ali Mortimer. We just wanted to kick off today's session with that piece of music, which comes from a video that Ali and I dropped out there yesterday for Dare to Dream, which is, there's more information coming today on that, but we just love the music and it just like stirs something inside of us. So we thought we'll get into the right mood and start our Friday just feeling really relaxed and really good about everything. So morning everyone. Hi Ali.
Hello lovely. Hello Alex. Hello Susie. Hello Christina. So lovely to have you here. I was just listening to that music and just closed my eyes, and it's a very emotional piece of music, isn't it? It takes you on that beautiful journey of like the calm at the beginning, and then there's a bit of an excitement and a power up and a big crash and a big bang, and it's kind of like, I suppose it leads us really nicely into what we're talking about today, which is really that whole roller coaster. And I know everyone uses the term the roller coaster because it is just such a great descriptive of the ups and downs that we all have, not only in business, the highs and the low, the excitements, the disappointments, but also we've not only got that high and low going up and down there, you've got the twists and the turns that you've got of our own personal lives that interweave and around it. It's like this, huge monstrosity of a roller coaster with twists and turns and ups and downs and all around, and it's about how on earth do we navigate that when we want to keep sane and happy, I suppose, all the time. How do you balance that? And I love that. Sorry, I'm just wittering off onto that piece of music that stirred up so many emotions into me, and then leading into what we're going to be talking about today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? I think like one of the things for me that I probably struggled with most when I started out in business was trying to stay consistent with everything that I needed to get done all the time. Like that consistency piece was difficult because there were always other things going on as well, and it was like, okay, well, I'm a bit stop-start because this is happening and this is happening. And I think the thing that I feel has been really important towards my success is being able to navigate those ebbs and flows and those highs and lows of the waves that you have to surf, and still be able to continue and keep going with it. And you get to do both. Like life happens whilst you're growing your business. It doesn't stop because life's happening. And I think what I've just learned to do is to manage that better and to ride those waves in a much more flowing way. That means that I when I fall off, which inevitably we do, that we can get back up much quicker. And I think that's what it comes down to really, is like how quickly can you get back into your power when something throws you off. So that's what we're going to be talking about today.
It's a really important topic, isn't it? I was just going to say, I can see that Michelle's joined us as well. So, hello, lovely Michelle. There's so many points in there that you just made, Emma, that I hope that we're going to get to discuss and talk. And obviously, everybody who's in the audience, if you would really like to come and join us, we'd love to have you up here on the panel. Come and put your point across. Please share your view. If you've got a challenge at the moment in this area, then we would love to talk with you about it. And help you go through it. Clearly, my dogs would like to help you as well. I don't know if you can hear them in the background. Barking. There was one thing that I was going to pick up on what you said there, Emma. You were talking about being consistent, and I think obviously with the ladies that we're running in the Well Balanced Business Program as well, that's one thing that a lot of them have had as a blocker, the consistency piece. And I think so many people in businesses feel that they have to be consistent in everything that they do. I would like to try and introduce the fact that it's actually not only just the consistency in what you do, but it's also the consistency in how you feel. You talk about going back into your power. Your personal power is how you feel and how you balance your emotions, and you keep that beautiful energy consistent while you're riding that roller coaster of the high and the low. Is how do you keep that is it groundedness, the feeling? I don't know what I'm trying to describe, but it's like that you have to keep in that feeling of, I know I'm going to be okay because I'm strapped into this roller coaster. I can't possibly come out. If I do, then it's such a small chance that that's going to happen. So I'm safe. I'm going to be okay. If I fall off my surfboard, you know what? I've still got my tie to my ankle. I can still navigate my way back up. I'm going to be okay. And I think when you shift from that feeling of absolute terror and fear of everything going wrong and just saying, I know I'm going to be okay, I know that that's one thing that's hugely helped me rebalance myself, re-level myself, get back onto my surfboard, know that I'm okay in my roller coaster. So I think it's the stay consistency piece is not only just the activity, but it's also keeping consistent with your feelings as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because the consistent, like, in order to take the consistent action, like to do the things that we need to do in business, like for me, it always comes about if I'm consistent in my own statefulness, and my own state of mind, because if I can maintain that and I can really take care of that, then the rest of it kind of takes care of itself, because I know that I'll always be in the right frame. And it's not possible to always be in this like really high vibrational state of mind where you feel like doing everything, and you know you're in this kind of like boss zone where you're getting everything done, and it's like, you know, ticking everything off the list and stuff. You're not always going to feel like that. Like there's going to be days when you don't feel like getting up and doing your business, the same as there were probably days when you were working for someone else where you didn't feel like getting up and going to work. But it's like, okay, when I don't feel like it, like how can I manage myself and my own state to get back to a place as quickly as possible where I do feel it and I do feel like it. And also being okay with the times when you just need to retreat and lean back and say, I'm not feeling this today. And the last thing that I want to do is to go out there and start putting things out there and creating and doing things in my business when I'm not in the right energy to do so. Because if you believe that you're like manifesting all the time, then you don't want to be playing in that field and manifesting when you're in a bad energy. So the best thing you can do is just take a step back and just take care of yourself until you are in the right state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to perhaps talk through an example of and bring to life what you're saying there. I know I've had my own roller coaster this week, or yeah. I think I described it to you, Emma, and what's inspired this conversation really is a couple of events that happened to both of us this week. Yeah. We've been riding the most amazing crest. You know, we are absolutely loving everything we're doing in the Well Balanced business at the moment. We've got an amazing program running. We have so many incredible, exciting plans, one that's going to drop just straight after this Clubhouse session. We have got so many more plans for the remainder of this year. We were riding high after our conversations on Tuesday, and neither of us could really speak. We were chatting away, and the next morning when I woke up, I had a surprise message, shall we say, from my sister saying, and you know, some really quite hurtful things. I think we both said hurtful things to each other. It wasn't very nice, and it really kind of pulled the plug on on my wave, or I don't know what it was. It was either the pulling of the plug of the wave or an arrow shot through my heart and I fell off my surfboard. And these things happen. And having done so much inner work through my own journey with working with you, Emma, with working with other coaches, and just knowing and understanding myself, I think there were three things that really helped me almost get back on or I described it as getting back on my surfboard, and just knowing that I was going to be okay and we could get back onto that, riding that wave so that we could drop our exciting video yesterday, which was just so incredibly exciting. We wanted to do that in the right energy. So the three things that I kind of helped myself through that, how did I get back up on my surfboard, was one, do exactly what you said, Emma, is just take a step back and recognize that we're all human. All of the emotions that I felt through that conversation that knocked me, the disappointment, the sadness, the hurt, all of that, the anger, the frustration that this had happened in the middle of when I was riding the most beautiful, perfect wave, that the emotions were so incredibly strong that it was like, right, I just need to take a step back and I need to lean into my human emotions and just go and allow myself to be human and cry and shout and scream and do all the journaling and walk the dogs in a stompy pace and just kind of let all of that energy flow out. So that's what the first thing that I did, was really just take a step and honour my humanness and just say, this is a feeling, it's okay, I'm not frightened of it, I'm not going to compound the emotions of being frustrated now, I'm angry and upset, or compound any of those. I'm just going to feel the initial feeling. The second one was what I talked to earlier about, the fact was, do you know what, I'm going to be okay. I'm still attached to my surfboard. I'm still strapped into this amazing roller coaster. I don't have to let this knock me out or drown me or sink me. I'm going to be okay. I will be okay. My sister will be okay. We're all going to be okay. And that really helps me spring back into my kind of personal power. But I can't know that I'm going to be okay until I've unleashed all my emotions, because otherwise the feeling of I'm going to be okay just fights with the emotions. So I can only kind of like step up into that I'm going to be okay when I've really, really felt into my feelings and honoured them. And then the third one is when I've recognised my feelings, when I've said, I'm right, okay, I'm much calmer now, I'm going to be okay, everything's fine. I can then look back and I take that view of, okay, well, that's just happened to me for an absolute reason. There was a lesson in there. That's absolutely happened. And I know we had a conversation and we're talking about it and just saying, okay, well, why did that happen? And it's like, well, one, I'm about to launch another program over the summer, which is all about keeping calm. Okay, how did I stay calm? Wow, that was a huge lesson in how to keep calm. I can talk to that when I'm talking about my program. Also, secondly, how is this going to help? Well, this is also a massively important topic for so many people in our world that we can actually talk and speak to, relevant in the moment right now. It's happening right now. We can talk to that and help so many other people, show how we navigate it. And in that, it was just like, well, okay, now I'm okay. I can make peace with it. I'm not going to resent that. I'm not going to resent my sister for doing that for me, because actually she's taught me a really powerful lesson and a reminder of how I take myself through this process so that I can share it with others to help them stay in their roller coaster and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. You talk about something I remember when we first spoke about this, actually, and it was probably near the beginning of our coaching together, actually, this idea of compounding emotions. And for anyone that hasn't perhaps heard that kind of terminology before, it's this idea that sometimes a situation, it starts out with one emotion and then we end up kind of burying ourselves into this deeper and deeper hole about it, and then all these other emotions come up that kind of like layer up on top of it, and suddenly what started out as maybe like a bit of frustration to start with then turns into anger, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm now angry with my sister, and then the anger then turns to like, now I'm deeply hurt that she could do this to me and made me angry on a day when I didn't want to be angry, so now I'm feeling really hurt, and then it's like, okay, now I feel guilty about everything that's happened, and I feel guilty that I now feel like this and I shouldn't feel like this. It's like this idea that one emotion then like layers up and creates a deeper emotion, and we have to be really careful about that, about how we allow ourselves to go deeper and deeper on some of the negative emotions and just try and bring it back to, okay, this is how I'm feeling about this. I need to just take the time to let that pass through, because if I don't, then I'm going to keep on compounding it, and it's going to get worse, and one emotion is going to turn into another. So it's just being aware of that. I think, like, being aware when you are turning one bad emotion into another bad emotion, into another bad feeling emotion, and maybe just allowing yourself to sit with the original one and just let that go through you, and let that go before it turns into something bigger. And I think for me, something else that I've had to really learn to do is be able to experience different emotions all at the same time. So, yeah, I can be perhaps feeling a bit frustrated with one situation. And I had a situation like Ali this week, with a family member, where I was like, okay, this doesn't feel good, but I'm also able to feel really excited and lit up about what's going on in my business at the moment. So I can be frustrated and I can be excited at the same time. And I don't need to allow one to get completely tangled up with the other and to bring everything down. And I think this is one of the things that's quite hard to do, is that when you're feeling a negative emotion, is to let that emotion then spread throughout everything that's going on in your world, where actually you get to be frustrated with a certain situation, but you also get to be like butterflies in stomach, excited about something else that's going on all at the same time. And it's being able to hold all of those emotions at once. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I often talk about holding two emotions, and or you can have multiple emotions really, but bringing it to life is always about. I always get back to when my mum was dying. That was incredibly sad, so incredibly sad. But I was able to also walk in joy at the same time, because it was also a joyful experience being with my dad and my sister and laughing and having fun. And you can have joy and sadness at the same time, and it's okay to be able to experience both. You don't have to feel guilty for laughing in such a sad situation.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful sadness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that beautiful blend and dance of multiple emotions. And I always think that from on one side of the coin, there's always the other, and you often have both happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have one without the other. That's, that is the balance. That is the balance of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I feel like we've been talking now. Like, I would love you ladies if you would like to come and join the panel and share your experience of this, or if there's something that maybe you're struggling with on your own roller coaster that we can help you move through today. Don't be shy, put your hands up. We'd love to have you up here to join the conversation. That's what this is all about in Clubhouse, is you being able to join the conversation.
Yeah, or debate with us. Come and agree with us. Come and debate with us. Come and join the conversation. I think while we're waiting for anyone, if they want to come and join us, there are a couple of other things that I think we can talk about in terms of the riding the roller coaster of. If I look back on some of my roller coaster dips, there's been some dips when you start to compare yourself, and that can pull you down. If we're talking about business roller coasters, one of the things that's very easy to pull yourself down from a high is to start comparing yourself with somebody else in the same field doing the same thing. And the voices in your head start saying, oh, Susie's coming up. I'll carry on that. Susie, hello. Hello, lovely.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I don't really know how this
It's all right. You're fine. No, you're good. Carry on. I was filling the space. Carry on.
No, all I was going to say, and it's sort of related, but when I separated from my husband and I got together with Tom, my partner now, we hung our heads in shame and guilt for a long time. And basically it took the happy away from everything that we wanted, and the fact that we just wanted to be together. And then it was only when Tom's dad said to me, but Suze, this is why you want to be together. You want to be together, so why are you hiding away? And we lifted our heads up and we started acting like the couple that we wanted to be. And then suddenly what everybody else thought about us and the judgment didn't matter. We were really, really cool together, and we were really, really happy. So we didn't have our shit together at all, but it was all about us being together. So I think, Ali, what you were saying was just about we had to live through it, but then it was our choice to decide to lift our heads up and move on.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, we all have a choice You have a choice, don't you? And what a lovely thing for you. Did you say it was your father-in-law who said that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. What a lovely thing for him to say, to give you that permission to go forward. And isn't it interesting that we often have to wait for outside permission to do that rather than allowing ourselves or giving it ourselves permission to do that? And it goes back to, I suppose, touching on that point of comparison. We're worrying about what other people think of us. You know, don't we? And they're often just the people in our head.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, don't we, Ali? Because whenever I hear someone say, "I'm worried about what people think," I'm worried about, these people that, these people this. The question Ali and I always ask is, who are the people? Like, who are these people that you're referring to? And 9 times out of 10, it's the people in your own head that it's actually you telling yourself that this is like maybe how you feel about yourself, not how other people feel about yourself. So having an awareness, I think, of who are these fictitious people? Are these just the mean people in your head that are maybe trying to bring you down a little bit? Because we've all got it. We've all got those doubts from time to time, and those things that pop into our head that aren't very kind to ourselves. So I think being able to recognize that the people that we refer to all the time, like the people that are going to do this or that, or feel, judge us or do whatever, it's actually just us judging us. And if we can let that go, if we can accept it ourselves, then we've sorted out all the people.
It's always such a light bulb moment when that first hit home to me, realizing that. And I love it when I speak to clients and say that, talking to the people, but that's just you. You can't possibly think what anybody else thinks. Those are your thoughts inside your head, thinking about thoughts about you. So do you want to change your thoughts or not?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people are frightened of changing their thoughts, because if they let that go, then, I've been there as well. It's like, well, who will I be? And then that means I have no more excuses to do the thing I know I need to do, but I'm just frightened of doing the thing I know I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once you've got rid of that, once you've got through that hurdle, and you start going through that, then there's another one to cross as well, isn't there? There's always something.
There's always something. Yeah.
Susie, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you. You've gone on mute, but thank you.
No, I don't know how to do this. No, thank you. How do I now not be on the panel? What do I need to do?
I can do that for you. Okay. Oh yeah, leave quietly. Well, no, I think leave quietly will take you straight out. So I'll move you to I'll move you to the audience. Thank you. Good to see you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for Susie for sharing that, because it's not easy to come up and share. But I think that's probably a good example, actually, where perhaps Susie and her partner felt as though they should feel guilty or shameful about something because other people would be judging them for what they had done. Actually, it's probably just their own. It's really only ever your own judgment of yourself that makes you feel that way. So we just need to be a bit kinder to ourselves, really. We're all human.
Yeah, and exactly that first step, just recognizing we're all human and it's okay. I think in that story as well, it's also, you can learn that lesson, can't you? That there was a really important lesson in there around honouring yourself and owning your story and being confident and proud of it.
Yeah.
And moving through that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What else do we want to talk about on the roller coaster while we wait for anybody, if anybody else wants to come and talk about their roller coaster? What else should we talk about? I was talking about comparison, wasn't I? In terms of the comparison to others can often pull you down. The whole, well, it's okay for her, she doesn't have kids, or it's okay for her, she's got money, or it's okay for her because she's beautiful, or it's okay for her because she's skinny, or it's okay for her, or it's okay for them. I think that comparison trap, when you're riding a beautiful wave, and then suddenly you take your eye off your desires, your desired goal, and where you're headed and where your wave is leading you to, and you suddenly look across and you see somebody else and they're like, oh, they're doing it better than me, they're so further ahead than me, and you've taken your eye off your wave and you fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like you suddenly realize that someone else is on a bigger wave and your wave doesn't feel good enough anymore. But I think it's also recognizing that person probably had to start off on the smaller waves before they could ride the bigger ones. So there's no such thing as an overnight success. Like, people don't just suddenly springboard out of nowhere. It just means that they have maybe been on the journey for longer. They've been surfing the smaller waves and then they've moved up to the bigger waves, but they started exactly where you are. And I think rather than look at them as, that person's much further ahead than I am, it's a case of looking at them and saying, well, look where they are. Like, if they can ride that massive wave over there, then so can I. Because all they're really doing is showing you what's possible. And they're on exactly the same path as you. They're just a little bit further ahead.
You're right. It's about looking to others for inspiration rather than comparison. So if you can reframe the comparison piece to, wow, that's amazing, she's done it. That means that's just evidence that I can do it. It's like the 4-minute mile. The guy who ran, they said that you'd never be able to run a 4-minute mile. Somebody did it, and then guess what happened? Someone else then broke that record. So it's just evidence that something is absolutely possible. And that again, that was another wonderful reframe for me, because I used to be triggered or activated by others who were further ahead of me, and I would go down that comparison trap, and it's like, no, reframe it. They are amazing. I can't wait to be just like that. Have that kind of business, have that kind of life, be doing that. I can't wait for that. And that's, again, that goes back to the energies that we were talking about right at the beginning. If you're in that energy, then you'll find the activity and the things and the action you need to do.
Yeah, 100%. I think Alex is just coming up to the stage.
Oh, how wonderful.
Hi, Alex.
Hi. It was just going from what you've just said then. I think that's just a really good way of looking at it and reframing, because I know this week for myself I've had a similar situation where I've compared with other people who have recently finished the course that I was doing. Two people in particular. One had just presented to over 400 employees at QVC about health and well-being, and then another one, she was doing really well in her company too, and it sort of, made me feel a bit deflated, because I was thinking, I want to do something like that, and when will I get there, and just sort of comparing myself a lot and doubting myself. But then from what you've just said, Ali, about reframing it and trying to get excited about where I can be and looking at, having them as inspiration is a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, and just flex that muscle, because it takes a little time. You'll still feel, but then you're just like, oh, look, there's that interesting, emotion again. Let's reframe that. That's just exciting. And when you're thinking, oh, when will I get there? Think, I can't wait until. Yeah, because then you're not in the energy of, oh, when am I going to get there? That's quite a negative, low vibrational kind of feeling and thought. If you can then shift that and just say, I cannot wait until that. I cannot wait, because then you've got rid of the timing element of it, and time is put such a dampener on everything. If you can just pull it back to, I can't wait until that happens, because it could happen next week. Who's not to know that Nike's waiting and they've seen some amazing post that you've done and they're going to ring you next week. Who knows? Who knows? That is your sliding door moment. That's you jumping a different roller coaster. So that's when we're down in the dips of the roller coaster, that's the kind of reframe that you can use, and just say, right, I'm going to pull myself back up. That's amazing. She's done it. That's amazing. If it's possible for her. Also, it's evidence. It's evidence that big companies like QVC are looking for people to do talks on health coaching. Right, what other big companies do I know? Or how can I get in there? That's amazing. That's exciting. They're looking for it, and that's what I've got. Amazing. Oh, look, I'm back on the top of a roller coaster again. Amazing.
Yeah. Do you know what I really found? Whenever I felt like, when I got caught in the comparison trap, it actually was showing me a lot about what I truly desired. Because when I felt triggered by somebody else, when I saw someone else doing something that triggered me, I was like, why do I feel so triggered by that person? Like, something feels triggered inside of me. And I realized that it was because I want to do that. Like, I want what that person's got. That's why I'm triggered by it. And it told me a lot about, okay, well, the reason why I'm feeling that way is because I want to do that too. And I think once you can recognize those triggers, like, rather than, oh, that person's really annoying, I'm going to unfollow them, ask yourself the question, why is that person triggering me in that way? Like if they're talking about their successes or how much they've made this month or whatever, if I'm triggered by that, it's probably because deep down there's something inside me that really wants that too. So it can really teach you quite a lot about yourself and what you really want. So now when I feel triggered, I actually invite that as a, okay, I didn't even realize that I really wanted that, but maybe I do. Like maybe that's like something that I need to put on my vision board because clearly I'm feeling that way about it.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It can be really helpful. I think sometimes that we worry when we are triggered, and it triggers a jealousy emotion, doesn't it? And we're taught that jealousy is a bad thing. Oh, don't be jealous, that's really childish. Actually, it's okay. It's just another human emotion. Don't negate it, don't compound it, don't suppress it. Just like Emma said, look at it and go, oh, hello, jealousy, my old friend. What are you trying to tell me here?
Yeah.
I had no idea that I wanted that. I can't bear speaking on stage, but apparently it looks like I might want to. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it's not jealousy. Maybe it's admiration.
Yeah, exactly. How can you flip it? What's another way? How can you turn it to being exactly that? Just like, wow.
Yeah. I think if we can say it like, I'm not jealous of that person, like I'm in awe of that person. I'm in admiration of that person because that person is maybe doing something that I would love to do one day. I think, oh, hello doggies. I think they agree.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's a pleasure. The other thing you can do if they're triggered by you, one of our knee-jerk reactions is to unfollow, to stop looking. Once you've reframed round to, oh, actually, that's really interesting, I might really want to do something like that, then you can actually almost lean into it and go and follow them and say, well, if she's done that, let me go and have a look and see how she got there. Because that's, if that's what you do want, then it's all about just following that person up, the trail that they've left behind. They're trailblazing something for you, so go and follow the seeds that they've left along the way, whether it's a program that they're doing or whether it's a free masterclass. Just go and watch them and see what they're doing, and they often share their journeys, and you take so much from them. So it's a really great reframe. Thanks for bringing that up, because it's such a good lesson for so many people to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Oh, I love that.
I do.
Love that.
Good conversation.
Well, yeah, it was a great conversation. Something else I was going to talk about there, when we go, we've just taken Alex on a journey through her roller coaster. She went down in the comparison trap and we pulled her back up by reframing. I think there are other reasons that when you were down in that roller coaster, that reframing is a great way to pull yourself back up. Looking after your human is another great reason, the lessons, all of that. Another thing we've often talked about, Emma, is, and I think it was something you said to me yesterday, and you'll have to say it in the way that you said it because it was so lovely, but it was often we can find we're more focused on the reasons why not and excuses, and we stay down in our kind of depth of the roller coaster, or we stay submerged under the wave, when really we just need to try and pull ourselves out by looking for the reasons why and the solutions. Because from that reason why not and your excuses to the reason why and the solution. Do you want to talk a bit about that, because that was really helpful?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm trying to remember exactly what I said to you. I have to go back over my messages, but it's just like around this idea that it's very easy sometimes to get stuck in our excuses, and really what we need to be focusing on is like our reason to and the solutions. And there's so many, like, it's often like we all have things going on in our lives, like we've all got families and other things that we're trying to juggle, and it's very easy to say, well, I'm just going to down tools on my business right now because this is going on, and use it as an excuse or a reason not to do something. Whereas really we want to be looking at these things as our reason why we're doing something. And I think it's just about recognizing where you might be creating these blocks or creating these excuses around what else is going on in your life, when actually it's a fear that's coming up. And by having this other thing, by having this excuse, you're almost like masking the fear, because deep down there's like some nervousness around doing something. So it's like an avoidance technique, I guess. Because by creating some of these problems and hanging on to these problems, you get something from it. You get to stay safe and not do the thing that scares you. So it's like, the only reason why we would be doing that is if we benefit from it in some way. And the only thing that I can think of that we can benefit from is that it keeps us safe. It keeps us from not having to do the thing that is the hard thing to do. So we find all of these other reasons to procrastinate on it.
Yeah, the reasons why not. I remember when we were having this discussion this week, we were talking about that, and I love the way you put a picture in my mind of two trains, or the sliding doors moment. You can choose to get on or off your train, and you can choose to get on the reason why, and you can get on the train of the finding of the solution. Yeah. When you get on that train, you can start going up. I love that. Yeah. I see Michelle's got her hand up.
Michelle, come see us. Yeah, just while Michelle's coming up, I just wanted to speak to that, because I am a big believer in that sliding doors like concept. Like, I don't think that time is a linear thing where the life that we want and the things that we want are somewhere along this line of time in the future. I actually believe that it's like 4-dimensional time. So there is almost like there's another place in time that's happening right now to where we are, like a sliding doors type moment where we already have everything available to us right now in this moment. It doesn't need to be a year from now or 3 years from now or 10 years from now. It's all available. And there's almost like this version of us that is available right now if we just get on the right fucking train. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
Get on the train, make the choice, take the lead, go.
It's just get off the train you're on and get on the right one, because everything you want, that life that you want, the business you want, it's already there, available to you. It doesn't need to be something that you make a really hard process 10 years down the line. It's there right now. It's happening in like some parallel life of you that you just can't see and don't know about yet, but you just got to align with that and be that person that is already able to receive all of the things that you want. And I truly believe that, and I've experienced that, like how fast things can change. We set goals like, oh, what are your 3-year goals, what are your 5-year goals? Excuse my language this morning, but fuck that, it's available right now. Like, just go and do it right now. It doesn't need to be 10 years down the line. It's all available.
Gosh, Mrs. Sweary McSwearfirst.
I know. I'm very passionate this morning.
It was me yesterday. You today. Michelle.
I not swear, I promise.
Sorry, I should have said if your kids are listening. I should have sent out a disclaimer in case the kids were listening.
Oh, actually, that's true, yeah. Although mine swears more than I do. 16, and it's, Xbox chatter, I think it's called. I just wanted to... It was just what you said there about fear and it's gone clean out of my head what you actually said, but the general vibe was about fear and how we use it as an excuse. But I just wanted to sort of... That might not always be the case, because if anyone has been and experienced overwhelm, yes, they're naturally going to have a fear of getting back to that, and a strategy that they may have put in place is to actually put some things down. It's not that I'm only speaking from experience, because this has literally happened this last week for me, and I could see that there was potential to get myself back into a space that I don't ever want to go back to. And I could see the warning signs coming, and so I had to put my group down. I couldn't go live because that is a fear that I have of being live on Facebook. So I couldn't add that into the mix of everything else that was happening. So, I mean, I suppose you could look at it as I ignored it. But I think your individual experience to that point tells you how you're going to move forward. And I've picked it up again, and I'm going to go live this afternoon because I'm feeling in a better space to do that now. But it's not that I was using what's going on as an excuse to not do something. It's just that I've learned from experience that I don't ever want to go back to that place of being totally overwhelmed by stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I totally relate to that, Michelle. I think that's actually a really important point, because what we're trying to do here is build a well-balanced business that doesn't feel like burnout and overwhelm. But I think what you're describing there's a big difference between just checking out because you don't want to do something because of the fear, and taking an intentional rest that you need to look after yourself in order to come back into that thing in the right kind of energy state. There's two very different. It's a very different thing, I think, and what you've done is the right thing there, because you didn't say it's too hard, I'm not doing it, I can't do it, I'm checking out, and you didn't put it on the back burner. Yeah, but not for weeks or months, just for the moment that you needed to recalibrate yourself to be in the right space. And that's important that you recognise that about yourself and do that.
You made an empowered choice, Michelle, and stand by it. I always use the analogy of when you come back from, excuse Purdy barking at the door, it's always like, when you get out of the car and when you've got babies and you've got a baby on a hip, you've got the changing bag, you've got your handbag, you've got your bottle of water, you've got the shopping bag, you've got all of these things in your hand, and you've got the key. You're trying to find the key to open the front door, and you're trying to do that while you're still holding the baby, and you're trying to hold the bag, you're trying the water bottle, but you really don't want to drop, and you just can't do it, and you're making a right mess of it, and you just go, do you know what, I'm really overwhelmed right now. I am going to put the bag down so I can open the door, to go through the door, to shut the door and pick the bags back up again. You made a choice. Okay. To go through this situation. Your situation was walking through the door. You put something down because you couldn't do it. You'd be overwhelmed. You'd collapse. Can you imagine? You drop the baby, the bottle of water would smash, all the shopping would go all over the place. You would have created a mess. You made an empowered choice to put something down, to walk through, to pick it all back up. Yeah. I like that. That's a good analogy. Thank you. I like that.
It's not like you left the bag by the side of the road and drove off without it and thought, I can't do that.
Yeah. I'm too frightened to do
Or the baby, for that matter. Or the baby.
I'm too scared to be a mum. Christina's got her hand up as well. All right, I'll go. Michelle, thank you, darling. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Welcome, Christina. Hi, Christina.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you.
Just first of all, I hope you can hear me because I'm out walking. So if you get wind sound or whatever, then tell me and I'll disappear. But I just really want to say we talk a lot in the kind of that alignment. And oh my goodness, this is just, I've come on today for the first time and it feels like this is talking to me. So you started at the beginning, I couldn't talk then because I was driving, about juggling things and sort of getting momentum and consistency and keeping things going. And learning how to manage all the things you're doing and prioritise, which feels very much where I am. And then you moved on to compounding of emotions. And I thought, goodness me, that's exactly, I think, what happens with me. I think I get involved in something, I'm doing it, I'm doing other things as well. Something else will happen off on the side, which isn't my main focus, but it creates a roller coaster of emotions. And the penny's just dropped, but it is okay to stay focused on one thing and experience the emotion of something else, whether it's frustration or guilt or, after I'm really clear now, I layer guilt on top of frustration so easily. And then that pulls me to a halt. And then you feel guilty about that, and then you feel like you've got to start all over again. And actually, if I can just recognise, I do now, I've seen it straight away, recognise that and work on holding that, I think life might be a bit more productive.
Yeah, this is when you throw your hands up in the air and you're going to be okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well done. What an amazing realisation. It's all of it is okay. Your emotions are okay. Everything is good.
And just listening to your stories as well, and hearing that, you know, interestingly, both of yours are family related. Mine's family related. Do you think there's a half-term element here? But it is life. It's human emotion, and that's what makes us who we are. And it's just really refreshing and lovely to hear that it's just all normal, you know, and it is okay, and we can work through it all. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's just amazing. What a lovely realisation when those light bulbs ping on and the pennies drop, it's just another freeing mechanism. You were greasing the wheels. It's, you know, we're waxing those surfboards, and it just makes it so much easier for you then to jump back on your surfboard when you recognise it's happening. You're like, oh, I know what to do with this now. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Amazing. Enjoy your walk. Yay, go surfing. Go ride it.
Okay. Speak to you soon, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Christina. Yeah, I was just thinking when Christina was speaking there, like, feeling bad isn't necessarily a bad feeling. Does that make sense? So you can have emotions that maybe don't feel particularly good for you, but it doesn't mean that the emotion itself is a bad one. Because emotions are just emotions. Like, they only mean what we give them meaning to. So, you know, if I am feeling a bit frustrated, if I am feeling a bit you know, guilty, or if I am feeling this, that, or the other, I need to just allow myself to feel that, rather than say, you know, now I feel worse because I'm feeling this. You know, we can't always feel good all of the time. And I think we just need to recognize that our emotions they're not bad, they're not good, they just are. And just allow yourself to feel that in the moment, and just know that it's going to pass.
So just hear you saying that, feeling good all the time. If you had a roller coaster that was always high, how would you get on it?
This is true.
You've got to have that whole build up and down, and yeah, I love that, Emma. Thank you.
But also, sometimes if you're thinking about the roller coaster, you need to have the downhill bits to get the momentum to get back up again as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd just be stuck. You wouldn't move, would you?
No. You need it all, and that's why, you know, learn the lessons. What was the lesson in the downhill? What was the lesson in the last leap? Oh God, I better hold on, otherwise things are going to fall out of my pocket. Or, you know, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm so excited. You know what's just happening outside my window? My son has just been brought back home, and he's just finished his common entrance.
Oh, that's exciting.
I'm so excited to see them. They're going to be so full of it. They're going to be knackered. Oh my God, he's got the most horrendous tie on in the world. Oh, what a great conversation this morning. I love that. I mean, that's a prime example, isn't it, of having, you know, life happening around you. Here we are talking business, and, you know, my son's coming home for common entrance, wasn't expecting to have him home today or on Monday, and, you know, you just have to navigate all this. My son, the other son, broke his tooth on Monday, totally Monday wiped out in the hospital, you know, sorting his tooth out. This is just another thing that comes in, and you have to navigate that blend of everything, and just go, right, we just need to be addressed. Yes, there are emotions here. It's frustrating, it's annoying, it's exciting, all of it. Let's just work it all out. It's going to be all fine. All of it's going to be fine.
Yeah. And I think I actually had the conversation with Michelle earlier this week about choice. And, like, at the end of the day, we own our own businesses, which means that we have the power in our hands to make the choices that we want to make. And one of the reasons why we do this is because we want to achieve balance, we want to achieve freedom, we want to achieve happiness. And we have the choice for all of those things. And when things come up in our life, we don't need to go to our boss and say, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to go and do this, or I'm going to have to take time out because my son's got this or my daughter's got that. We just get to say, right, cool, I'm the CEO of my life, of my business, and therefore today this is what's happening, and everything else will just happen around it, and it will keep happening. It's not going to be the bag that you drop by the side of the road and drive off. You're just going to put the bag down to allow yourself this space to deal with whatever's come up, and then you're going to pick the bag back up again. It gets to be that easy if you decide that it is. If you decide it just is this way, then it will be.
Do you know what my word for the beginning of this year was? Because I decided what this year was going to be all about. My word this year was #effortless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so far, it feels pretty effortless, this ride. Yeah, there's going to be knocks, but it's only teaching me how to make it more effortless next time around.
Yeah. Love that.
Talking of effortless, we're effortlessly launching something new and exciting very, very shortly, aren't we, Emma?
We are. Do go over and check out Facebook or our Instagram this morning after this session finishes. As we shared the video with you yesterday, which was just part one of the big thing that is coming next. So we are absolutely buzzing for it, and can't wait to share all the lovely details with you after this session finishes. I've just noticed that Kat's joined the room, who also is new to Clubhouse. She's got her little party hat, so just wanted to welcome Kat to Clubhouse and also to the Well Balanced Business Brunch. We're actually just kind of finishing up our session here today, Kat, but we are here every Friday at 10 a.m. Talking about all things creating well balance in business. All the strategy, all the heart, all the soul that you need for consistent clients and cash flow, but doing it in a way that feels really, really good. So if you are around on Friday mornings, we'd love to see all of you back here next week. But yeah,
lovely to chat to you all, and thank you for sharing all of your stories and coming up and commenting. It's always lovely to have you here, and we will look forward to seeing you in the Bonus Business Hub. And for those of you in the Well Balanced Business Program, we'll see you next week, and we'll be out on social media. So yeah, go watch the space. Within the next half an hour or so, the next part of the puzzle will be dropping.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave you on the high vibe of the music track from our video again, just because I love listening to it and it makes me feel so good. So if you need something to just breathe into this morning, I'm just going to let you close your eyes for 2 minutes and take yourself somewhere where it's your happy place, where you just feel really free and at ease. So just close your eyes for a couple of minutes and just take in this music, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you, Emma. Lovely to be with you all.